Hi, welcome back to Mind Control, where we inspire and motivate you. Hope you enjoy the video.
People haven't plotted and schemed for 50 years saying if I could just get to Poland, everything would be okay. No! No! The boat people are not desperately trying to get to Vietnam. No. They're not squeezing through the fence to try to get into Mexico. No. Neil Diamond says, looks like everybody's heading for. They're all coming to America. Why? Everybody wants to come here by every means possible to get here. Why? Because America's easy. So if you go home with anything, go home with that. Mr. Rohn reminded us that America's easy. He got rich by the time he was 31. America's easy. Bangladesh is hard. Just take that home. Here's the average yearly income in Bangladesh, $120. That would be hard. Tell me hard versus easy. So America's easy. Cambodia would be hard. The Khmer Rouge killed 2 million Cambodians to make communism work. That's hard. America is easy. India would be hard. They got their challenges these days. Tough. America's easy. China would be really hard. Underline really and make a study. It's hard. America's easy. And now in about 90 days you can have that memorized. I'm telling you, that's all you need. I got rich by the time I was 31. I lived in America. America's easy. Now here's number 2. I found an opportunity. That's all you got to do in America, search for an opportunity. Take the first one, right? Try it. If that isn't it, leads to another. One door closes, another door opens. This is what's exciting about America. It's full of opportunity. A chance to try, and then what? Try again, and then what? Try again, never run out of opportunity to try. See if you can't better your life and your health and your future and your bank account and your income. Make your fortune here. I lived in America, number 1, found an opportunity, number 3. Number 2, here's number 3. I found a teacher. What a grand and glorious, unique thing that was for me at that time in my life. I found a teacher willing to teach me. And his teaching came in 2 parts. Here's what it was, very simple. Number 1, Mr. Rohn, you have evidently messed up between ages 19 and 25. Now, I could understand that. But he didn't leave me there. He said, now here's the answers on how to change it all, the next 6 years. So that the next 6 years won't be like the last 6. What an incredible teacher. Taught me how to have a whole brand new 6 years. First 6, what? I messed up. Second 6, what? I got it right. Second 6 years, I became a millionaire. During that second 6 years, the government was about the same. I'm telling you. Interest rates were about what? The same. The pay scale was about what? The same. Lord knows my negative relatives were the same. Circumstances were about the same. The economy was about the same. The unions and their philosophy was about the same. What was going on around me was about the same. Then how come I got rich that second 6 years? I was not the same. I changed. You say, well, Mr. Rohn, if you can do that, can anybody do it? Yes, I invite you on that journey. Anytime you want to. You can stay the same so that the next 6 years will be like the last 6. Take a look at the last 6 years. And I'm telling you, the next 6 years of your life is going to be like the last 6. Unless you want to count on this short list that we call not much list. Most everybody's counting on this not much list. What if all of your negative relatives turn positive? What would that do for your future and your fortune? What? Not much. Not much. What if prices came down a little? What will that do for your future? I'm telling you, not much. If the economy gets a little better, what will that do? Not much. If you don't make plans of your own, guess what? You'll probably always fit into someone else's plans. Guess what someone else may have planned for you? Then what's going to make the difference? You're going to have to make the difference. You're going to have to take charge. Now, Mr. Schoaf, my teacher, gave me a promise, and I want to give you that promise now. Here was the promise I got, and I bring it to you. Here's what my teacher said. If you will change, Mr. Rohn, he said, if you will change, everything will change for you. You don't have to change the government. You don't have to change prices. You don't have to change taxes. Forget all that. He said, if you will change, everything will change for you. And the first thing you start changing is what? Your philosophy. You start changing your mind. You start changing how you think. You start picking up new ideas and information. Gather new knowledge. Make better decisions about what's valuable. And I'm telling you, if you'll do that, your whole life will change. Your health will change. Your relationship with your family will change. Your ability to cope with challenges and problems will change. I'm telling you, income, promotions, all of it will change. If you will change, it'll all change. If you won't change, it isn't going to change. You can keep your fingers crossed if you want to and hope they'll straighten it out. You can wish for the wind not to blow quite as severe, but I'm telling you, wishing for the wind to change in your favor, we call naive at best. Don't do this any longer. Wish for a better wind. The key is to wish for the wisdom to set a better sail. Utilize whatever wind it blows to take you wherever you want to go. That is the philosophy I picked up at age 25, and it revolutionized my whole life. And here's what I found. I found it was easy. I got rich by the time I was 31, and it was easy. Now here's my definition of easy. Got to jot this down. My definition of easy, meaning something I could do. I figure if it's something you can do, it's easy. Now here's a parenthesis. Parenthesis, I worked hard at it. I found something I could do which was easy, but I worked hard at it. I got up early and stayed up late, worked hard that 6 years. But what I did was easy, meaning it was something I could do. You say, well, Mr. Rohn, if it was so easy, how come everybody else around you during that 6 years, how come they didn't get rich? Here's why. It's easy not to. How else would you describe it? That's it. You say, no. For all of the rest of them, it was hard for them and it was easy for you. That's not true. You couldn't debate me on that in front of this intelligent audience. But here's the challenge. Let me give it to you in a philosophical phrase. I tend to be a little philosophical. Here it is. The things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. That's the difference between success and failure. So you've got the choice here today of one of two easies. Easy to or what? Easy not to. I can give you in one sentence how I got rich by the time I was 31. Here it is in one sentence. I did not neglect to do the easy things I could do every day for 6 years. Underline. I did not neglect. That's the key. I found something easy I could do that led to fortune, and I did not neglect to do it. Major reason for not having everything you want in America. Major reason for not having more of what you want in America. More health, more money, more power, more influence, more everything. Major reason why you don't get it. Simple answer. Neglect. Neglect. And here's the problem with neglect. It starts as an infection. And if you don't take care of it, it becomes a disease. And here's what else is the problem. One neglect leads to another. Neglect to do wise things with your money, you'll probably neglect to do wise things with your time. Neglect to do wise things with your time, you'll probably neglect to do wise things with your business. One leads to another, leads to another. Pretty soon, neglect has you by the throat, emptying your purse, emptying your heart, emptying all of your chances for equities and power and all the good things. Neglect.
We'd like to thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
So, in life, there are moments when you stop and ask yourself, how did I get here? Like, why am I standing here? Well, this is definitely one of those moments for me, and I find myself going back to beginning, back to my roots. I was born to incredible parents, amazing parents who served as doctors in the Indian Army. I was the firstborn, and as far back as I can remember, I made my parents very proud and happy 99% of the time. Okay, slight exaggeration of personal achievements are allowed from time to time. Don't you think my brother was born a few years later, and even then nothing changed for me? We were both given equal opportunities, and I want to emphasize this. I want to really emphasize this for you because I don't think a lot of people might understand that being equal might seem very normal. But where I come from, India, and a lot of developing countries around the world, more often than not, this is an exception. It's actually a privilege. My first experience of the glaring disparity between boys and girls came at a very, very young age. I grew up in a middle-class family with extremely philanthropic parents who constantly reminded me that my brother how lucky we were and how giving back to those who were less fortunate was not a choice. It was a way of life. Simple. I was 7 or 8 years old when my parents started talking me on these visits in traveling clinic to developing communities around and villages around the city that we lived in Baltimore. Really, we were packed into this ambulance and my parents were provided free medical care to people who couldn't afford it. My job at the age of 8 was assistant pharmacist. So, I would count all the medicines, put them in an envelope and give it out to patients, and I really took my job very seriously. But the more I went on these expeditions, the more I began to notice that simplest things that distinguished a boy from a girl or a man from a woman. For example, girls were pulled out of school when they hit puberty because they were considered ready for marriage and babies. That's 12 and 13 while boys still enjoyed their childhood. Our basic human rights such as health care were denied just because they were women. Let's call this whole experience trigger number 1 for me. Last forward a few years and many triggers in between. Like a producer-director, for example, early on in my career, I must have been about 18 or 19 telling me that if I didn't agree to the ridiculous term or painfully low salary in his movie, that he would just replace me because girls are replaceable in the entertainment business. But I think what really moved the needle for me and ultimately led me to create the Foundation for Health and Education around the same time, partner with UNICEF, was an encounter with my housekeeper's daughter about 12 years ago. I came home from sit early one day and she was sitting in my library reading a book, and she must have been 8 or 9 years old, and I knew she loved reading. So I asked her, I was like, it's weekday. Why aren't you in school? And she said, oh, I don't go to school anymore. So I went and asked her mother, and I said, why isn't she in school? And her mom said that her family couldn't afford to send her and her brothers to school, so they chose the boys. The reason she would eventually get married and it would be a waste of money. I was completely blown and it shook me to my core. Eventually, I decided to cover the cost of her education so that he could continue to learn because education is a basic human right. Thanks and a huge necessity, especially today. From the point on, I was determined to make a difference in as many children's lives as I could in whatever big or small way that I could contribute. There's a really beautiful quote that I read recently, and I think it's absolutely appropriate to explain what I'm trying to say today. The hand that rocks the cradle, the procreator, the mother of tomorrow. A woman shapes the destiny of civilization, such as the tragic irony of fate that a beautiful creation such as a girl child is today one of the greatest concerns facing humanity. Girls have the power of change the world. It is a fact, and yet today girls are more likely than boys never to set foot in a classroom. Despite all the efforts and progress made over the last 2 decades, more than I am just gonna give you a stat, more than 15 million girls of primary school age will never learn how to read or write compared to 10 million boys primary school. It's the beginning of our future. Over the last 11 years, I have witnessed firsthand the incredible work that UNICEF does for children around the world, especially victims and survivors of child marriage, displacement, war, sexual violence. But there is still so much work to do, and for me, that is the fuel to my fire. The reason I am so committed to this cause, and that is where my passion stems from, because I know that a girl's education not just empowers families but communities and economics a result of her education. We all do better. It's just as simple as that, as entertainers and influencers sitting in this room. I feel that is our social responsibility to be for the voiceless, which is why I applaud each and every woman in this room for being such a badass, for using your platform and your voice to contribute to change, and for ensuring that there is not even one lost generation as long as we are alive.
If you've reached this video, you probably do not believe it, but you are already taking a big step to improve your life. The fact of wanting to improve and progress while wanting to leave the past behind, and above all, knowing how to do it, is already a great change that you are producing from here to the future. It is so important to leave behind the things that do not serve us in our lives, in order to obtain what will do us good from now on. You don't drown by falling into the sea, but by not getting out of it. Perhaps is one of the most important lessons of recent times, for the reason that bad things happen to everyone. It would be a great luck if we all always have the same constant mental well-being, and that bad things did not happen to us. But the reality is quite the opposite. In this life, which is long, we will have good and bad times. So don't feel bad about yourself, because feeling bad shows humanity, and it also shows maturity to overcome those bad experiences and move on. Time is a great cure for all the bad ones, and you will know it well, because you will remember at this moment situations that you have experienced in your life, and that, although it is unbearable, sooner or later you have forgotten it, or the pain is diminished to the point where you can use the memory to reflect. A death, breakup, that person you loved so much has left you for no reason. All those moments of incredible pain, of not being able to sleep at night that torment us even during the day, somehow vanish thanks to the passage of time and the love that God has for us. Because thanks to Him, it is that our sorrows become more bearable, because no one knows more than He how much we are suffering and how we struggle along the way. He wants the opposite. He wants us to always be happy, and that's why He works in our favor. But not only time works to overcome moments of pain, also the changes you make in your life drastically change the difference for the better. If you do what you have always done, you will get what you have always got. Go for a walk, dance, show the world that you are alive, and show yourself in the way you know best. Do what you like the most, and always put a smile on any situation, because the durability of the sufferings will depend on how you react to them, and then reflect. Have I caused this that has happened to me? Am I to blame? Generally, being blinded by a situation, we think that everything is our fault, and that we should martyr ourselves and show the others that we are sorry. But no. Sometimes there are situations that just happen, and the fault may not be to someone in particular. Instead, there are things that should happen inevitably. That is why you should not feel bad about everything. I do not promise you that everything will be fine from now on, nor do I promise you that nothing bad will ever happen to you again, since that would be living in an idyllic world, and that would be something that does not make complete sense at all. There will be moments of weakness in which you will do nothing but cry and pray to God that this whole moment passes. But what you must do is dry your tears and fight with all your might so that everything is resolved and stability returns in your life. From now on, we have to be clearer that I must do this, that I would like to do this. Believe it or not, even if you feel incapable, we can all be responsible for a great change. We have to be the engine to create new directions and new experiences. Do you feel empty? Do you feel that all your days are the same endless routine? Take control of your life and be the first to generate that great change that you need so much, because no one will do it for you. So use that fact and create the life you want for yourself. You know well that you have the intelligence, the strength, and the capacity to live better and be happier. Allow it for yourself. This life is beautiful, and it's no use just concentrating on negative things, because in addition to being beautiful, our life is short. That's why we shouldn't waste a second and go out to fight for our dreams. Do not give up.